Most people didn't expect to wake up to this. Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa, the face you'd recognize instantly even if you couldn't place the name, is gone at 75. His passing hit harder than anyone expected, because he wasn't just another actor. He was one of those rare figures, whose presence alone could shift the energy of a scene. He died early Thursday in Santa Barbara, taken by complications from a stroke, with his children standing beside him until the very end. And the moment the news broke, fans around the world had the same reaction. Wait, I know him. I've seen him in everything. For decades. He was that unforgettable force, the villain who made your skin crawl. The mentor who spoke with quiet power, the man who could command a room without raising his voice. But behind that familiar face was a story so much bigger than people ever realized, and what he accomplished over 4 decades. Most people had no idea. From the moment Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa stepped onto a set, there was no slowing him down. More than 150 film, TV, and video game roles. That's not a career. That's a lifetime of reinvention. He became known as the face you always remembered, the actor who could walk into a scene for 5 minutes and still steal the moment. His breakout arrived with The Last Emperor in 1987, a film that swept the Oscars and quietly launched him into the global spotlight. But Tagawa didn't stop at one breakthrough. He jumped effortlessly between Hollywood and international productions, showing up in thrillers, martial arts epics, dramas, blockbusters, anything that demanded intensity, precision, and presence. Directors loved him. Fans recognized him. Even when he wasn't the lead, he became the scene people talked about afterward. And as his resume stacked higher and higher, something unexpected was brewing, a role that would define him forever, in a way he never saw coming. Then came the moment that changed everything. When Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa stepped into the role of Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat. He didn't just play a villain, he created one of the most iconic antagonists in 90s pop culture. The glare, the voice, the way he delivered "your soul is mine." It was pure electricity. Fans still call him the definitive Shang Tsung, the version every reboot and remake desperately tries to measure up to, and Hollywood couldn't let him go. Tagawa came back again and again. The 1995 blockbuster, the 1997 sa Kill, the web series, the animated projects, the video games, even the modern hits like Mortal Kombat 11 and Onslaught. It was rare for any character to stay with an actor for that long, but Shang Tsung wasn't just a paycheck for him. It became a legacy. In a 2019 interview, Tagawa said, "The first film exploded at the perfect timing," crediting the rise of the video games and the director's bold choice of fast, driving metal music that matched the action so perfectly. It created a moment in pop culture that felt impossible to replicate, and he was right at the center of it. But behind the scenes, the character mirrored something deeper in his real life. Long before Hollywood ever put a camera in his face, Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa was shaped by something deeper than acting discipline. He started training in kendo as a child, later diving into traditional Japanese karate, and even returning to Japan to study under masters who treated martial arts like a way of life, not a sport. For Tagawa, martial arts was never about throwing punches or looking impressive on screen. He saw it as a philosophy, a blueprint for patience, balance, and understanding the space between action and restraint. That mindset followed him everywhere, even as he built a career in films filled with chaos, violence, and spectacle. Eventually, he developed and taught his own martial arts system, Chun, a blend of physical training and internal discipline designed to center the mind before the body. And once you know that, every role he ever played suddenly makes more sense. The controlled intensity, the quiet power, the stillness before the storm, because behind all the villains and warriors, Tagawa carried the mindset of someone searching for something deeper. And that same search for inner peace showed up in one of his most celebrated performances, Out of all the characters Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa ever brought to life, none felt as personal or as haunting as Trade Minister Tagomi in The Man in the High Castle. Tagomi wasn't a villain or a hero. He was a man trapped between worlds, searching for peace in a reality built on conflict. And Tagawa understood that struggle better than anyone. He was born in Tokyo. He came to America after World War II. He grew up feeling the weight of history on his shoulders, navigating two cultures, two identities, and the quiet pressure to exist between them. So when he stepped into Tagomi's shoes, it wasn't just acting. It was memory. It was experience. It was a piece of his own life, finally given a voice. In interviews, he said he saw himself in the character, the longing for balance, the desire for harmony, the fight to stay centered when everything around you is pulling you in different directions. And that authenticity is exactly why so many fans still consider this his most powerful dramatic performance. It wasn't just a role. It was the closest Hollywood ever came to seeing the real man behind the legend. But TV was only one of the many arenas where his face became unforgettable. If you watched television at any point in the last 40 years, chances are Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa was already part of your life, even if you didn't realize it. For millions, he'll forever be LTAJ Shimamura from Nash Bridges, the calm, sharp-witted officer who became a fan favorite without ever trying to steal the spotlight. But his reach didn't stop there. He showed up in Revenge with that icy, calculated presence only he could pull off. He brought depth to Hawaii, intensity to Lost in Space, and authority to every single series that needed someone who could elevate a scene the moment he walked in. And his guest credits, they practically shaped an era of television. MacGyver, Star Trek, The Next Generation, Miami Vice, Baywatch, Babylon 5, NCIS, LA, Hawaii, 5-0. The list stretches across decades, a living map of TV history with his fingerprints all over it. Producers knew exactly what they were getting when they hired him. A commanding presence, a grounded performance, and a character who felt instantly believable, no matter how wild the plot was. He was the secret weapon, the actor you called when you needed intensity without chaos, power without shouting, mystery without melodrama. But even with a legendary resume, he kept his personal life almost completely private. For someone who spent his entire career playing warriors, villains, diplomats, and legends, Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa chose to live his real life in a place built for peace, not chaos. Far from the noise of Hollywood, he settled on the island of Kauai with his wife, Sally, a quiet corner of the world where he focused on the things that mattered most: family, discipline, and staying connected to the philosophy that shaped him since childhood. There, he wasn't Shang Tsung or Tagomi or the countless characters fans loved him for. He was simply a husband, a father, a man who valued early mornings, long conversations, and teaching his children how to carry themselves with the same calm strength he brought into every role. He raised 3 children, Callan, Bryn, and Kana, who inherited not just his features, but pieces of his discipline and spirit. And when his 2 grandchildren, River and Thea, were born, he embraced a gentler chapter of life that Hollywood never got to see. It was a life built away from the spotlight, a life that seemed steady, grounded, and full of purpose. But in his final days, something heartbreaking happened. In the end, Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa left this world the same way he lived in it, quietly, with dignity, and surrounded by the people who mattered most. He passed away from complications of a stroke, with his children right there beside him. No cameras, no headlines, just family holding on to whatever time was left. But the moment the news reached fans, something remarkable happened. Messages poured in from every corner of the world. Gamers, film lovers, martial artists, longtime TV viewers, all sharing the same sentiment. His presence meant something, Whether you knew him as Shang Tsung, Tagomi, or one of the countless characters he transformed into over 4 decades, he left a mark that doesn't fade. Very few actors move seamlessly through film, television, anime, and video games, and even fewer do it with the discipline, intensity, and spiritual depth that defined Tagawa from the beginning. He didn't just play roles, he elevated them, giving even the smallest character a weight and humanity that made you remember his face long after the credits ended. And that's his legacy, a career that stretched across generations, mediums, and cultures, and a body of work that continues to live on long after he's gone. Fans aren't just mourning an actor, they're honoring a storyteller, a warrior, a teacher, and a presence that shaped some of the most unforgettable moments in modern entertainment. His final chapter may have ended, but the characters he brought to life, they're not going anywhere. They'll keep living, keep fighting, and keep echoing through screens for decades to come.